Our family recently had to say goodbye to our beloved dog. She was with me for 14 years, nearly half of which was with my husband and stepkids, and my 4-year-old's whole life. Losing a pet is so deeply personal, yet it's something many of us understand. It's pure love, and the grief can feel crippling. Even though it's difficult to talk about, I want to share a little bit about how our family is healing and some ideas for navigating the loss of a loved one with children. If you're new here, I'm Deanna, a mom and stepmom exploring blended family life. It isn't always so depressing over here on my corner of the internet, but it is honest. This is where I am right now. There will be no fairy tale analogies or songs today, but if you're into that sort of thing, please check out my other content for more cheerful videos. In the meantime, I'm just sharing from the heart in case anyone feels less alone. I'm not an expert, so if your family is going through a life-altering loss, I encourage you to look into grief counselors and support groups. Having experienced loss both before becoming a parent and more than once since, I think it's important to acknowledge it's very different with kids. There are ways children can add a ray of sunshine over the gloom of grief. But there's also a loss of space to fully process your own roller coaster of emotions. You're not just taking care of yourself anymore, you're taking care of them too. This is, like many aspects of family life, nuanced and complicated, and I don't want to oversimplify it. But it helps me organize my thoughts to talk about it in 4 categories: talking to children, prioritizing your own process, showing up for your spouse, and ideas for honoring your loved one as a family. Talking to children about death is personal and will vary significantly depending on a number of factors, including your faith and the children's ages. As a step-parent, I think this is an area that is best to let the parents take the lead. The children should feel there is plenty of space for their questions and feelings, and they're likely to feel the safest with their mom and dad. After their mom or dad have delivered the news, then we can come in and offer support as a step-parent. If there's a death on their mom's side of the family, acknowledge it. I would just say, "I'm so sorry for your loss," and then follow their lead. We want them to know their feelings are welcome in both homes. They don't need to compartmentalize. But we also want to respect they may be more private about grief they share with their mom. When the loss is in your home or family and it feels personal, you can start with the same words, "I'm so sorry for your loss," and just add, "I'm sad too." That reminds them they're not alone and you are experiencing the grief with them without overwhelming them with your own feelings and making it about you. Speaking of overwhelming emotions, I am someone who processes grief in a very open way. There are a lot of tears. And I don't think this is something we need to hide from our kids. But I do remind them that grief looks different on everyone, and just because someone isn't crying doesn't mean they aren't sad. I've also reassured them I will always miss her, but I won't always be so sad. It's like my heart has an owie, and it's healing. Over time it will hurt less, and what will be left are the beautiful memories and the love. Which brings me to prioritize your own process. While I don't think you need to hide your feelings from your family, you may want space to grieve, and that's okay. You don't have to push through. Remember, you're healing and you can't show up in the same way that you normally do, so ask for help. My husband took our son to Costco so I could pet a cat and watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Do what you need to do. That said, be open to the possibility that the way you move through grief might be different now that there are children in your life. When I was single, I might have stayed curled up watching Buffy for longer. But this time, I honored that need to be alone and then went outside with my family. It can feel really good to cocoon, but seeking connection is also comforting. It's okay to want both. Another way to connect is showing up for your spouse. You are not alone, and you don't want your partner to feel alone either. While asking for some space is okay, completely retreating is not. Instead of sinking into the depths of despair, comfort each other. Getting through difficult times really does strengthen your bond. When it comes to showing up for your spouse in times of grief or crisis, I like to think of the ring theory. This was first created by psychologists Susan Silk and Barry Goldman several years ago, and it became a bit of a meme. But basically, you draw a circle with the person's name, and then larger circles around it so that it resembles a target or a bullseye. And you comfort in and dump out. This ring theory can be a helpful tool in navigating how to show up for someone you love who's grieving, especially if you are grieving too. Being able to identify who's at the center of this grief, and that is the person who I comfort, And if I need to talk about my feelings, I'm going to talk to somebody outside in a larger ring. During our marriage, my husband and I have each experienced being at the center of the ring, as well as being the person comforting in and dumping out. This can apply not only to grief, but other times of crisis, like stressful situations at work. It's important to keep communicating and take care of each other in these tough times. Final topic I want to touch on is honoring your loved one as a family. How you do this is very personal, but inviting the kids to share in that experience gives you an opportunity to comfort them, as well as model how we can honor the memory of those who've touched our lives. We decided to plant a tree and place a garden stone with her name on it next to it. My 4-year-old said to me, "Mama, she's always in your heart, and she'll be back. When we plant the tree, she'll be there. She won't be in the same body, but she'll be with us." Kids may not understand death the way we do, but they're thinking and feeling deeply, and they may understand more than we know. I hope something I shared was helpful to you on your journey, and I'll see you next week.